So let's do this. Let's just go ahead and as I blab, I'm gonna teleport to my very first base. Now, we'll eventually get to like my settlement. I have quite a bit, right? But let's go to home. This is always gonna be funny. First thing you may notice, let me turn it a little bit. Yeah, we didn't have the best planning, and you can see the wires just running straight through the base, right? So this is kind of what I wanted to do today. I wanted to laugh at all of the goofy things I did along the way, and I want to talk about the one particular update that changed quite a bit for I think quite a lot of people, right? There was one update in particular where you could change your settings, right? You could go from a survival file to a creative to then back to a survival file. Now, that might not matter to a lot of people, but let's just say a small section of the community that really sort of, myself included, let's say it took the wind out of my sails in a very funny way. Now, I'll sort of get existential with like how that regards to video games as a whole. Um, but let's show you some goofy things at the front here, right? You can see, right? I threw down the medium refiner. We had the biofuel reactor charging the telly. I immediately put down the different settlement guys down here. You know, I got my rover and all of these wires, man, just powering this stuff up however I could, man. And I didn't really have the foresight to know how to like avoid making it look ugly, all of that. You can see like there's a walkway that I eventually was gonna make a staircase to something, never did. So we're gonna look at a lot of half-finished goofy silliness today. And I will talk about this world in particular here. So when let's go right here. When I first landed down here, my ship's by the way over there. It's my nice little living ship looking inside. Hard to see because it's green. It kind of camouflages, and there's a very green hue going on today. But when I first got it right about here, I thought this was like absolutely amazing. But check this out: the trees weren't even there. It was just like I was so early on in my playthrough without seeing all of the other content creators and what they've accomplished. That this was like breathtaking to me, right? And what I'm talking about when I say like the creative mode thing and then switching back to survival, that stopped me because all of these sort of intricate small decisions I made along the way, I don't want to say were like invalidated, but they were sort of diminished in some regard. And I've actually ran into this with several other video games along the way, and I'll sort of talk about that even more at the end. But looking back on something like this, right? It's kind of silly because like in creative mode, most of these decisions I made were influenced by my lack of resources, time, which is an incredibly important variable in anything you're doing in life, and just lack of knowledge, right? So you will see that like I sort of built these as I got the materials to acquire them. Now, if you're just a creative player right out the gate and that's the side of the game that you like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's probably one of the best parts of the game, right? Exploring is huge, base building is huge. Maybe like the role playing aspect is really huge for a lot of people. So anyway, it doesn't matter what type of player you are. I think this should appeal to you in some regard, right? So we got like our what is this? The Mordite root, right? I needed this for some weird thing. We got the Nip Nip over here. This was like my big money maker. It was a single dome with Nip Nip, right? Looks like they never fixed it growing through the staircase. Love that. Um But yeah, you can see also the Star Bramble, right? This was all part of making those stasis devices. Whoa, sorry for the whiplash. Let's get out of here though. And one thing I do want to laugh at a lot, there's the biofuels, right? A bunch of solar panels here. And by the way, you can just turn, if you're totally new, you can just like have infinite power supplied to your base type thing if you want to do that. But you can see like the storage boxes here. I put down thinking I needed them like in an accessible place, and that these storage boxes were not the same on every other planet. So if you're totally new, like storage box number 2 is going to be the same storage box number 2 on every planet that you put down a storage box number 2, if that makes sense. Same on your freighter, it's going to be the same one. You have like 10 total storages in total. Now, like that would have influenced right where I placed these because I placed these thinking I wanted them to not be too far away from like my ship and my teleport location, right? and I actually like tried to like embed them into the place. Not that I ended up doing anything with them, but I think you know what I'm getting at. And I'll sort of follow up on that. This is gonna be a very messy video, but I promise I'll get to everything that I mentioned at the beginning. So here the star bramble, all of this, right? Let's climb this. I'm curious. Sorry, my nose is super itchy. Wow, yeah, love that. I love that you go through the floor still. Good job, Hello Games. Now they have done so much for this game, guys. If you see any weird bugs and visual things, I overlook it almost completely because of how much just like raw content is in this game. It is a small studio, and I know it's like sure there's been X number of years they've had to fix that, right? And in all honesty, they probably should have. I can't imagine it being that hard, but like all of the other things totally outweigh that, man. Like, I mean, I personally am not one to get upset about something unless it's like a game breaking bug. I've heard of like a horrible bug which has not been the case for many many years. But some people got soft lock on a derelict freighter, and they couldn't call their ship back to them because they didn't have any of the navigation points or the navigation data to call their ship back. And for whatever reason, they swapped their ship in the middle of that somehow. And that was like the hardest cord bug I've ever heard of. So just be careful. By the way, those derelict freighters are such an awesome part of the game. Just for newer players, they you can explore them to get upgrades for your freighter itself. And every single time you go through one, it's going to be different, assigned to each solar system, right? So you can go back to the same solar system, and I believe it's the same run through each time. Yeah, it is. But each solar system has a procedurally generated experience for you, which is super cool. And you don't need like a tremendously strong multi-tool to get through it, just a decent one. So let me show you here. So I built it next to this, right? I thought that like the ship hunting aspect of the game was going to be um like I thought this was going to be an important decision to build it close so I could like find all my ships here, right? But of course there's a limited number of variation on each system, right? And depending on the global economy, all of that, and the war, the state of conflict in each system, you'll have these variables factor into what ships you can see, right? There's probably not going to be a squid ship here because this is like a 1-star system, for example. Um, blah 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 blah, and animals and stuff like that. I'll sort of show you at the end. But yeah, these beaver guys were so cute to me at the beginning. I really quite liked them. Now you can see over here, I got more like the fire one, the ice one, whatever the hell the names are, dude, Solanium. And all of this was like at the beginning was like calculated like certain amounts, so I could potentially build stasis devices, which were the most expensive item in the game that you could sell back to the global terminal, right, and make money and make nanites, all that. Now I didn't really know, right, how easy it is to make nanites in this game, and I'll get into some of those things at the beginning here, or sort of in the middle here a little bit more. But you do get to a point where nanites are almost irrelevant. They're always going to be relevant, but you'll start having a lot, particularly with the frigates. Right? If you're playing survival and you really want to just stack a bunch of nanites and stuff, get your frigates going, get those upgrading. Eventually, they'll become like S-class frigates. And then every time they go on a mission, they'll bring you back like hundreds of thousands, if not millions. You'll get like 3 million nanites a trip sometimes. Plus, they'll bring you like salvage frigate modules, which are incredibly important. And I remember hunting those down the first time, man. Woo, baby! All right, so it turned night. We got the flashlight out. Pretty dang sick. Dude, this big bad rover thing, I remember this. Whoa! What, can we not stand on it? Oh, we can't. Just hit a weird spot. The Colossus, that's right. This I remember bringing to like a fiery 3-star extreme conflict sentinel planet and just feeling like a pimp daddy. And these experiences are important, man. Now, I guess this is a good time to talk about the locking the settings thing, right? So if I'll just go into my settings right here. So at any point, we can go into accessibility, no, difficulty. And what I could do is I could scroll on down here. There's some good stuff here. But I, right, never lock these settings, right? So at any point, which I do have it on now, crafting for pretty much everything is free. Now, that was not initially how it was. This was an update like 2-3 years ago. And when it happened, I felt a little jaded in some way, which is sucky. And the reason I did that is because I was grinding, right, for a lot of this small incremental progress. Um, and then when I realized, like, well, all of a sudden, just one day I could go in and just turn all that stuff on and just not worry about it. It was, that temptation is everything to some people, myself included. I didn't initially cave. I just actually made a new file. I have like one creative file and I have like two more survival ones other than this. But I just want to say that temptation is hard for some people to resist. And it's also, even if they never bite, right? They never take the bait on the hook. Um, Compared to other players, it's sort of like, in a way, right, diminishes or somewhat invalidates all of those small progresses, like all those stasis devices that you ended up slowly building and one by one taking to the global terminal and feeling good about it. Well, all of a sudden, you didn't necessarily really have to do that. So there's just something to think about, and I'll expand on that a little bit more as we go on. Now, this was so cool. This little storyline with Homeboy here, and then also the Home Overseer. I think on a different planet, I had all four of them. Right, the storyline with this guy was very interesting. It actually sent shivers down my spine when you get further enough, because the way the writing is in this game, you have to sort of like read it aloud. Right, there's no voice acting, and it was like this guy gives a funny look and looks over his shoulder and this and that, and it was like very ominous. And then uh even my character was saying that he feels very uneasy, and there's a weird glinting in this guy's eye. And eventually he's like very pressuring to, like, for us to go do stuff. And then when we leave the base, right, and we come back, he's like scurrying and scrambling and all that stuff for what, for what reason. And it was very cool, man. I just gotta say, even though there's no voice acting in this game, if you're like willing to sort of suspend your disbelief and to sort of put your imagination into it, man, dude, it was enjoyable, dude. I'll be real, it was enjoyable. So yeah, dude, and then we have like this tunnel connected, so you can see like the storage, right? I wanted this to be like immediately accessible, and whatnot. So let's teleport. Wow, it is frozen here. Okay, so I'm gonna fly over to my little room. It appears to be over here. Yeah, we're getting our titties are getting frozen off, baby. It's a save beacon right here, and our storage containers. You can see, I thought they were important. Okay, so here we are. It looks like there's that weird. Unless they purposely did this, I noticed this the other day. The globe here is shrunken. There are some shrinking weird bugs. But I would run over to this thing, dude, and I would check the status every day, right? I was hoping that I would get more citizens and eventually we'd get an S class overview thing. Now, weirdly, I didn't get it for like after hitting 70 exactly, I like could not get more citizens. And just logging on after like a couple years of not playing on this file, the first request was like, "Do you want to upgrade your, a new citizen came." So there's that. I wonder if they fix that, and potentially if I played more, I could get an S class thing. But this was gradual, fun progress, getting the happiness and the productivity, all of that. This is of course not a 3-star system. I think that does influence what you can make. But like you can see like 20,000 units right here, 15,000 units right here, and then like your frigates are bringing you like a gazillion. So like you don't have to worry about nanites at a certain point. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I remember being so happy about this. Okay, so you walk out here. What's going on? Oh my goodness! Dun, 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 dun. My base. All right, so I would literally come over here and I would climb this ladder. So funny to think back now. Now what I know about the game, and I like built this on top of my settlement, thinking I was so cool for that, which I was. Dude, don't get me wrong. Now, this is like your first little room, dude. Very cool, right? It's glass. You can sort of see over there. Got your storage containers on standby, because remember, I thought that was super important. This connects over there, which should I go over there first? Well, this was like my main thing. You can see right here on the floorboards there. Little patchwork action. Very good stuff. And you can see like the weather threatens me like just right here or something like that. I kind of remember that. So it wasn't like perfectly aligned. There is glitch building and stuff in this game, which is easier to do with a controller. So I never quite invested enough time, at least on this playthrough, to get that down. And this was my first little nip grow, which was funny. Yeah, dude, pretty cool stuff going on here. You can see like I like the pink lighting. This was my appearance modifier room. I thought it was cool. I put the little carbon things in the corners. I like it. So let's show you the rest of the base. Let's go here first. This was sort of like a nothing area that I didn't really finish. But you know, you could run over here. You could be safe from the weather. There's like a ladder up there and a teleporter, which I'll get to in a bit. You can see like I had some ideas, man. Right? What is this? Does this have a staircase connected? Well, this was gonna have a staircase down to the floor. I put a rug down, you know, so it looked less ugly. And you could like walk up here to like floating McGee the third, right? Which was not too shabby. And this was before the displaying your discovery thing, right? Like I would love to be displaying like some flora or fauna that I found right here in this middle table instead of this globe. You'll see later that I used the globe on my freighter too. So right here you have like your teleporter room. I think one of these works, which we will probably not take just so I can walk and show you everything. And this would take you back to whatever have you, because this is actually a normal teleporter, right? That's how I could, yeah, not like have to like use my ship all this. So if we go over here, it winds back, you know, and you can see kind of where we were coming from, and this is like a hole down to what again? I don't know, man, to something. And then this um is what the hell is this? Yeah, this is we can overlook the Nip Nip farm that we had down there in the glass domes. You kind of saw that at my other base. And here's like another platform. I was gonna do some stuff for Roonies over here. You know what it is. Cheers, bro. And then like what's that over there? Oh no, this is on top of like the nightclub. So you could actually hear the music playing if I had that turned up a little bit louder, which I thought was really, really cool. So I was gonna make that like a dance floor area. We could get inside these, but you kind of know how these work. And then, yeah, that sort of connects back. So actually, let's go just the last little part of this, and then we will go to my freighter. This connects over here, which I had like a mural over here or something weird. We can't jump there because there's glass, but we can jump here. That's right. That's right. And there's Nip Nip. But this sort of goes back to the entrance. Another outdoor area yonder here. And also, you can see this connects back to the first room, right? Very cool. But there's one more little part. Before I lose you. We go up yonder McDonder. You can see I had the storage embedded into the base. As always, I gotta point it out. This is a cute little spot. I always like this spot. I wanted to put like a bed here. It just felt really cozy right here. And we'll walk it back down, but staircase, little floor. This is like before all the new signs and base building parts. You know what I mean? I really like this little flag thing kind of popping up where the storages were, which you know you can look down onto the floor here. I had a lot of different plans that I just like never really finished. Kaboom kabam! This was gonna be, I don't know, dude, a spot to land your starship. I think like on each side, and then like this was gonna go to something else. Hey, look, a ship landing over there in the distance. Looked pretty cool in the snow. So yeah, dudes, I know many of you've already seen stuff like this, but I wanted to just give you the full tour. It's very nostalgic for me. This teleporter went to one of the teleporter rooms, and this little glass room below my feet here would wrap around from that cozy little bed area. And there's that ledge there. So, you know, let's go to the next place. By the way, if you're new here, I will take a moment to be like, hey, don't worry too much about your settlement as a moneymaker or anything like that, but make it on a planet that you think is just really, really beautiful. I think now, depending on any system you're in, you could eventually get S class. I'm not certain on that. I did hear a rumor. It wasn't the case necessarily, but yeah. By the way, whenever you see, if you're ever watching like a YouTube and you see boards like this, people would put boards like every so many yards to extend the boundaries of their base, right? So now I think there's like another one like way over here down the hill. You can see I have a base icon, a really tiny one right there, because I have like the interface turned down. There's like a teleporter over there, but that's where the power is coming from, I believe, for this particular base as well. And I wanted to just build like a metropolis on top of my settlement thing. And I built it in the snowy area, which was probably a dumb idea. I had to battle the weather effects and didn't want to like turn them off or whatever. But of course, now we have a lot of liberty with our settings. And so, yeah, I will do a little snappity snap and we'll go to the next place. Okay, so for this next part, I will quickly show you my ships, and then we will go further inside to check out the freighter base, which the base building on the freighter thing is so cool. Oh, wait, just kidding. We teleport inside of it. So this is where we come out of, and it is a little mud hut. So I will walk out after it bugs a little bit, and boom, shabam! Check this bad boy out. You know what I'm saying? Dude, look at all this, right? So we have one of those like anomaly things you can find on the surface of planets, which are these cubes. Probably my favorite, the electric cubes here. Christmas tree, little protege, right? We got the carbon. The terminal's like right there, which is super important, right? Banners and stuff. We got the jellyfish, right? You got your crystal action. So yeah. This little room, outdoors here has a mushroom and some more cubes. But this is also sort of like the main entrance here. Okay, so let me just sort of show you how it works. More posters and stuff on the wall. We went to town with the decorations at the front here. Um, and you can see, right, we got the homies watching the ship and the guardian jellyfish. So you can get those on the derelict freighter, I believe. Maybe that was part of a expedition reward. I do kind of forget. But so if we walk to the left, a little bit of a room, and we can start our nip nip lab. This is the agriculture guy, exporter they call it. But basically, with this, you can just hold down E and start running, right? And you will grab all of the nip nip as you start going. So I believe see, I wasn't even going in a straight line, but you would just do like a figure S, and you would eventually get all of it. So this is how I made a lot of money. And this room directly in front of me there, you can see that red orb. That is sort of the freighter room or what have you, the frigate room. So you can send all your frigates on missions here by going up to one of these, and boom, bam, bing. You just go ahead and check it out. Well, actually, sorry, you do that from the guy standing in the pilot room, and then once the mission's done, you come up to these. So yeah, it's been a little while, but that's the main gameplay loop there. I guess I'm gonna run over here. Hopefully, I don't give you nostalgia or nausea rather. Nutrient processors, you don't really use them too much, especially if you're a new player. Don't worry about them until you've done most of the other content in the game. They did update some of the new food items with the world's update, which is cool to know. Now up here, you can see I have more plants. And originally, these were sort of roughly calculated to, help me build the stasis device, because you need a lot of parts made from these plants to eventually put those parts together, and then boom, you eventually get down to brass tacks. So actually, if you go up one more level, the plants weren't growing properly. So I believe plants can only grow properly on the first couple levels of your freighter. I do not know if they fixed it in general, but it doesn't quite work on my file. So I'm actually not even going to walk over there. You can just imagine another level with plants that never grew. So that's kind of annoying. You do have to work through some of those things as a No Man's Sky player.